Nick, I have riddle for you.
What is riddle?
Guess what? Knock knock.
Who is there?
Something funny.
Something funny who?
You told me to say something funny, so I did. Welcome to this week's Shotcast, brought to you by Nick Incorporated and Brett Incorporated.
What? That was your
Just say something, please. I don't want to do another one.
That was
I don't want to do another opener, please. I don't want to.
We've sat here for about 10 minutes with Brett trying to come up with an opener, and apparently he came up with that horrible knock knock joke.
I don't know what to say. You're trying to make me think of something that I can't think of.
You know, Brett, if you really thought about this a couple days in advance, you probably would have something.
I just said that. You can't tell me to do something that I just thought myself of what to do.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. I just said it. I should have probably thought about this like 2 days ago.
Nope, I said it and you said that's a great idea, Nick.
You know what? You can say whatever you want because I can't remember crap.
Wonderful. Welcome to this week's episode of the Shotcast. My name is Nick, and I'm here with
Brett.
Don't be salty now, Brett. And we're here to bring you this week's top news stories and camaraderie and joy while we drink. Hence the Shotcast. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We're happy to have you. And if you're coming back for another fun-filled week, well, thank you for the support.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that, Brett?
If you're listening to this and you want to follow us on Instagram, follow us there.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just _Shotcast.
We do. We are officially on Instagram now, and we've been trying to build our Instagram page and follow some other podcast pages. We're still working on the website.
We have a plan to do that because apparently we can't do it. So
What do you mean we can't do it?
we suck at doing the website. We never want to do the website.
Right, because
And we've said every week for like the past 2 months, we're going to get the website done. But now that we have people actually listening, we have to do it.
Brett discovered we actually have people listening to this thing this week.
Yeah.
When
It's getting close to 100.
And I was able to meet with somebody here in Madison who runs his own podcast who gave me some pretty good tips that we're going to use.
Yeah, we're actually going to be on every podcast platform eventually.
Well,
coming up here with your new
whatever
theory.
with the RSS feed
Not
or whatever.
Theory, but like technique.
Whatever with technique, it's just an entirely new hosting platform. Mm-hmm. Either way,
by the way, does that hosting platform put us on SoundCloud too?
No.
Oh, so you won't find us here anymore. Bye.
Well, you'll find us. We'll make sure you're taken care of. And either way, but yeah, Brett and I have been meaning to do this website for quite some time, and every time we say we're going to do it, he comes over to my apartment and then he lays on the floor, and then we wind up watching YouTube.
Blaming me.
Yeah.
Blaming me when
You didn't even let me finish.
No, when you
didn't let me finish.
Oh yeah,
I said,
okay, yeah.
Brett comes over, lays on the floor, and we end up watching YouTube for half an hour, and I sit there and blatantly neglect the fact we have to do it and feed into his laziness.
Even when I said, Nick, is there anything I could be doing for the website right now? Or
Website?
Stop. Website right now? Or do you want to wait till we're both doing it? And you said, don't touch it. I was like, okay, all right, I'll wait for you.
Some may say this may be partially my fault.
Some may say.
Anyhow, anything new this week, Brett?
I don't know. I don't care.
Brett hates me asking this question.
What's new with you?
I got a new client.
I don't care.
And I got a new client for my business. I met with some really cool people. Actually, you do have news this week. You went to a Gamers Alliance meetup.
Remember I told you, even if there's something new with my week or if I do something cool on the weekends, I don't remember it or don't care to share it. I've done that my whole life.
Right, this is more of a platform for me to
say.
Yeah,
you love sharing what's going on with you. Yeah.
Okay, Salty.
I'm
Get your salt out of your pants.
I'm just joking, by the way. I'm not mean to Nick. Only when I'm drunk. Right, Nick?
Right. Brett discovered after listening to the last Drunkcast that he's actually quite mean to me.
Yeah, whenever I'm editing, I'm like, I say shut up a lot to Nick. I should probably stop that.
But Brett and I are best buddies, so it's all in good fun, right, Brett?
Yeah, which I noticed, too, that you don't care that I say shut up. You just keep talking.
Well, because after knowing someone for 7 years, you don't really care about that type of crap anymore.
You know me saying shut up doesn't mean shut up. It just means...
But stop saying it.
Yeah, I will stop saying it.
Either way, no, it's been a productive yet I'm a bit tired and burned out. Brett and I, at the conclusion of this podcast, have gotten back in, call us super geek nerds, World of Warcraft. We're going to have a hootenanny of a time.
Hey, You see what just flew past the window?
What?
Our lives.
Oh, yes, sure.
Oh, my V card's
My
back.
life flew away long ago when I started my business.
My V card's back. Put that in my wallet.
What?
My V card.
I don't get it.
My virginity.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
We're playing World of Warcraft. Okay.
All right, yeah. Okay.
We're going to actually start talking about what you came here to listen for now. So time to spin the wheel.
If you don't know what we're doing, every week we do a wheel, and it decides what we drink and how much we drink.
Yeah, these people know. Okay, here we go. Oh, here we go. First cheers of the day.
Cheers to the Shotcast.
Tastes like fruit punch.
I love fruit punch.
All right, let's get down into this week's news. We really should come up with some type of sound effect or something.
Yes, I agree.
To put in there.
Do you want me to edit this out?
Yeah, edit out this conversation, but we really should put something in there. All right, Brett. So, have you been following the news this week?
Yes, I have.
Did you actually read through all of my stuff this time?
Oh, no, I didn't. Did you send it to me?
I sent it to you on Wednesday evening, and I made sure to even get it done a day earlier because I wouldn't have time. And thinking,
I completely forgot to read this stuff.
I even texted you, and you said, "Okay."
I must have just completely ignored your text. Like I sometimes I don't read your text and just say okay. Just so you don't think I'm ignoring you. I was talking about.
You deserve that.
I did, yeah. Okay.
When are you gonna get your crap together?
My God. I completely forgot that I was supposed to read this stuff. I'll do it from now on
know what
because this moment right here is going to make me remember.
Uh-huh. You know what you have to say now publicly into the microphone?
I'm a dookie head.
No, it's
I love a cookies.
You have to say, "I sorry, buddy."
Oh,
Say, "I sorry, buddy, I'll make sure."
I'm sorry, buddy. I make sure I do it next time.
Say it with feeling.
I'm sorry, buddy. I make sure I do it next time. Somebody took my spaghetti.
Okay.
Look what you do. Look what you do. Look what you bring out of me. You bring the weird.
You're always weird, Brett.
And now we just lost 2 subscribers. Now we're at 0.
You're always weird, Brett. Anyhow, moving on to the first top news story. Record flooding in Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh,
the city we are in. Yes. Which Brett also did not know this was happening until I sent him a text message on Monday night saying, "Oh my God, everything is flooded." And he's like, "Oh, really?"
Didn't know. And it was happening 2 blocks away from... No, not 2 blocks. It's like 2 miles away from me this was happening.
Less than 2 miles. The intersection of Gammon Road and Mineral Point was...
That's like 2 miles away from my place.
I can't believe you didn't know that was happening.
There's people on top of their cars, and their cars were floating away like a boat.
Yes, it was that bad.
I'm surprised some of them didn't go, Helsinki.
Oh. All right. So... On Tuesday here in good old Dane County, the county in Wisconsin that Madison's in, Dane County declared a state of emergency after record-breaking rainfall flooded many western parts of the county on Monday night. Yes, Monday night.
We got how many inches?
Well, I'll get right into
Well, I
that
guess
here.
it's the next sentence, isn't it?
Well, Jesus, Brett. So actually, the rainfall that we got Monday night broke the state record for the most rainfall received over a 24-hour period. So this is pretty substantial. Wow. The National Weather Service estimated that as much as, get this, 13 inches of rain fell in western parts of Dane County.
That's a lot of rain.
Correct. And it's a lot of rain that Madison is not equipped to handle because it doesn't go anywhere.
You think it would?
Well, keep in mind we got rain before this big storm and the ground was already saturated, so it couldn't sink into the ground. And... clearly, it's not going to go into the lake. Well, I guess in some areas. But Madison just isn't built for flooding.
It's not really.
No, it's not. And, sewer drains backed up, and it just came down so quickly so much. The official state record for rainfall in a 24-hour period, I found out, is 11.72 inches of rain, which occurred northeast of Mellon in northern Wisconsin on June 24th, 1946.
Wow.
That was a long time ago. A long time ago.
It's probably not too bad up there, but in Madison, when it's all, cement and cities and stuff.
Well, the rain just has nowhere to go.
Yeah.
The water. Dane County officials declared a slow no-wake restriction on Lakes Mendota and Monona, our 2 main lakes here in Madison, and Wabasa. Where is Lake Wabasa?
I don't know. Keep reading.
Okay. And Lake Wabisa after levels rose significantly overnight. So pretty much it was all west of Madison for the most part. It led to record flooding in areas of western Dane County, specifically in Middleton, Cross Plains, and Black Earth. And for those who don't live in this area or are familiar with Wisconsin, all those are all suburbs and air quotes of Madison.
Yeah.
Middleton, did you actually hear the Costco there? Completely flooded.
Yep.
Closed until further notice. And people who were actually there stayed there overnight because they couldn't leave because everything around was flooded, so they couldn't get in their cars and leave.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And then the Costco ended up flooding itself in general.
Yeah.
A lot of local businesses are flooded.
Yeah, gross.
Did you hear about that? Oh, I guess I'll get to that guy who died here in a second. And Black Earth, where Highway 14 goes, and you know exactly where that is. I wonder if you've actually gone over that bridge.
Which bridge?
There's a bridge in Black Earth that goes over the creek there on Highway 14, and apparently all this flooding rose the creek so high that it took out a large chunk of the bridge, and the bridge was washed out, or Highway 14 was washed out.
Is it on the way to Black Earth, or is it like in Black Earth? Oh, I know where they're talking. Yep.
Where like the creek goes under
Yep.
it? Yes. So there's like a large chunk of the road that's just gone. Gone.
So that means I can't go that way.
Oh boy. You didn't know this?
Well, thank God I didn't have to go that way. I think the road's closed that way anyways.
Well, they closed it, yeah, but I'm just saying the road's actually gone now. It's washed out. The city of Middleton also received significant amounts of rain overnight, which led to a lot of stranded people and vehicles, people unable to leave buildings, and basically the area west of, the Beltline and Parmeter Street in that area is currently not accessible. Like, I know this may not seem like a big national news story, but it's big news for around here in Wisconsin because we get nothing like this that happens half the time.
Jesus, I'm surprised it didn't get national news. It wasn't as bad.
Actually, no, it was on CNN, I think.
It wasn't as bad as Texas, I know, but
No.
I saw pictures that looked like pictures that came from Texas.
Yes.
That's for sure.
It's big news for around here for sure. And then I kind of mentioned this earlier, but for the first time in 11 years, the Costco in Middleton is closed until further notice after the whole store flooded. Now imagine Costco, water destroys everything, and all their stuff's on the ground, so they lost a ton of product. All that merchandise and product gone.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't bounce back.
There was a shoe store in Black Earth that completely lost all its product. They were throwing away the shoes.
The shoe store got flooded?
The shoe box, yeah.
Used to buy shoes there all the time as a kid.
Really?
My mom would take me to the shoe box there.
Yeah, it got flooded.
No.
And they were throwing shoes away.
They had so many like little antiques and knickknacks all over the walls, like they collect.
Oh boy, this is nostalgia city for Brett. Yeah, it got flooded.
I hope the horse is okay.
And then, of course, no one can come away we can't come away from something like this completely unscathed. One man died after being swept away by floodwaters on Monday night. The man was driving an SUV with 2 passengers when his vehicle was taken over by the flood, and the 2 other people in his vehicle were rescued by a Madison alder person, but the driver slipped away, unfortunately. So as far as I know what happened to that, they drove into the water, and the current was so strong it moved like the van towards like a curb. And then it did that thing where it
did flip the van.
Right. It did that thing where the water, the van was flipping. So they got the other 2 people out, but then it flipped him and it took him away into a local pond or something, and he drowned.
That's freaky.
That's a freak accident. Yeah.
That's freaky.
Yeah. So.
Oh my God! How did I get out of that?
The
current takes
He was
you.
70 years old.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But
probably pretty
yeah,
frail.
the last time I can remember we had this much rain like this that caused any degree of flooding was, do you remember back in
well, I mean, every year Wisconsin, around Madison, gets a little bit of flooding where it's oh my God,
right, but
we're getting a lot of water
the
here.
last time I remember it got this bad, do you remember back in 2008, 9-ish when we got that really heavy bad storm up towards the Dells and it flooded Lake Delton and it broke the dam?
The dam broke.
Yeah, and then there was a lot of roads around there that got washed out too and everything. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last thing that made national news.
You were able to walk around in the lake.
Yeah.
And it was like dirt.
That was the last time I can remember we got rain this bad, but that was north of Madison. But I remember that. Those were bad
that's
storms.
an hour north of Madison.
Those are bad storms, but that caused the lake to breach the dam there.
There was houses falling into the lake.
Yeah, because I went there with my aunt and uncle, and we walked down in there and actually stood in front of some of those houses, and there was just people's crap everywhere, and it smelled like crap.
Oh, I'm sure.
It smelled. But people were down there with like metal detectors, and people were coming up with like jewelry and phones and all this other stuff. It was actually interesting. Yeah, that's the last time I can remember we got flooding this bad. So apparently everyone's afraid now because a lot of this isn't over. A lot of these areas are still flooded, and we're due to get more rain tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
That many days?
Yes.
Wow.
Specifically tonight, we're supposed to be getting some storms, as far as I understand, and then
What time is that supposed to start at?
later, and then it's supposed to go into tomorrow morning, and then we're supposed to get some more stuff tomorrow evening potentially, and then Sunday, and yeah. So have fun in your travels this next week.
Thanks.
Oh dear. All right. Well, that ends that news story. Oh boy, I can't believe I'm drinking and I don't feel good.
You feel fine, Nick.
No, I really don't.
You feel fine. I'll take those beers off your hands.
I'm sure you will. You always drink all my beer.
Because I'm a good buddy.
Oh, no. You always drink all my stuff. And
I never take it home with me.
What do you mean?
You buy the beer and I never take it home. I
I
leave
bought
it here.
beer at your house and I left it there. I don't fucking care to take it. I'm not going to
I've
drink it.
brought beer here and I've left it here. I always do that. I've left my liquor here too.
Yeah, but we don't drink liquor anymore. Whatever.
I'm just trying not to sound like a dick, okay?
Oh, you take your fruit punch and leave.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Just go to the next story, please.
Next story, the trial of Michael Cohen. This is juicy. This is interesting.
Oh, is it? Yeah?
You don't know anything about this, do you?
No.
This is like the talk of the town right now.
Never heard of it.
It basically incriminated Donald Trump for committing a federal crime running for public office.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you've heard nothing about this.
No.
All right, well, I guess it's time for you to learn about it.
Yay.
On Tuesday, you know who Michael Cohen is, right?
Yeah.
Trump's former attorney and fixer.
Yeah.
I love that term, fixer. I want a fixer. I want someone to do my dirty deals for me.
Oh, I thought it was your fixer.
You do my dirty deals for me?
No, mentally.
Oh, yeah, you are that, Brett. Anyhow, on Tuesday, President Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, and you all are familiar with President Trump in this whole saga, hopefully, admitted to making illegal payments to two former Playboy models, Stormy Daniels, during the 2016 campaign to keep them from speaking publicly about affairs they had with the president. And this week, Mr. Cohen acknowledged the illegal payments while pleading guilty to breaking campaign finance laws and other charges.
Michael.
Yes.
Come on, man.
He told the judge in the U.S. District Court in Manhattan that payments to women were made in coordination with and at the direction of a candidate for federal office.
Oh.
Gee, I wonder who that could have been.
Yeah.
So this basically implicates the president in a federal crime, which is impeachment worthy. But we're not going to get into that. Mr. Cohen stated, I participated in this conduct, which on my part took place in Manhattan for the principal purpose of influencing the election. He said that in court.
He did.
Oh, God. Can you imagine?
Interesting.
The people in there like, oh, my God.
You idiot.
Oh, no. I don't think he's being an idiot. I think he got a really sweet plea bargain to say this. Mr. Cohen also pleaded guilty to multiple counts of tax evasion and a single count of bank fraud. He also hid more than $4 million in personal income from 2012 to 2016.
Okay.
So it was more or less based on, the payments he made to Stormy Daniels and I forget the other Playboy models to hush them so they wouldn't interfere with the election, which technically is influencing an election. Because if they were to come forward and be like, oh, we had relations with Trump, that could have tampered with his win. So they essentially tampered with a federal election.
Well, that's bad.
Yes, it is. Mr. Cohen has been the president's longtime fixer. I love that. Handling some of his most sensitive personal matters over more than a decade at the Trump organization. And he once said, Brett, that he would take a bullet for Mr. Trump. Apparently not now.
No.
Not now. He's willing to throw Mr. Trump under the bus.
Under the bus. Take a bullet, but he won't take a bus. Well.
Shut up, Brett.
God, just keep talking, please.
Prosecutors charged that Mr. Cohen's $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels was effectively a donation to Mr. Trump's campaign because by securing her silence, it improved his electoral fortunes, which is tampering with an election, and thus violated 2016 campaign finance law, prohibitions against donations of more than $2,700 in a general election. So they blew that way out of the water. Out of the water. If the limit's $2,700, you pay $130,000, you're breaking the law. He also pleaded guilty to causing an illegal corporate donation to Mr. Trump through his involvement in a $150,000 payment to American Media Inc., which owns, I believe, the National Enquirer.
Okay.
Made to the other Playboy model in late summer 2016 to buy the rights to her story, effectively securing her silence for the remainder of the campaign. So they basically paid the National Enquirer to buy her story to get it in the National Enquirer because no one believed the National Enquirer, so it wouldn't affect his campaign. That's devious.
That is devious. That's pretty, brilliant.
Pretty brilliant, pretty devious, pretty illegal.
Pretty illegal. And I was at my mom's and my grandma called my mom. My grandma was talking about this to my mom.
So you know
She's
what?
like,
I
think they got him, Deborah. I'm like, oh.
But the thing is,
about?
Trump is actually scared right now. He actually brought up in something he was at this week in a speech that if you impeach me, he actually said the word, if you decide to impeach me, the economy is going to get very bad.
Oh.
Right. But you get
okay.
But the point of this being is he's on the defensive actually for the first time because he realizes
he's admitted.
He realizes like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like totally they could impeach him for that. If it is proven that he knowingly directed this Michael Cohen to make this payment to silence people in an effort to influence the election, he could get impeached for that.
Do you think if more people liked him and he was actually like average president, like would they look this far into the things?
Oh God, no.
It's just because nobody likes him. And he's an idiot.
It is a mission of the media and everything that it stands against what he stands for. Mission to bring him down.
Yeah,
which I'm okay with personally because I don't like him. But yeah, this is the first time he's on the defensive, and I think he knows like this in conjunction with all the Russia stuff. Like,
what if he's trying to help us? What if he's like, if you impeach me, the economy's gonna get really bad. Like, what if there's plans that Mike Pence has that's just the devil made him up?
Are you defending this Muppet?
I'm just saying. What if he gets impeached and then Mike Pence rises up and we're like, please go back to Trump. Please help us. Trump, please. He's evil. He's imprisoning children for smoking marijuana. Our prison rate has gone up 20% because of Mike Pence. Like, what if that happens?
Good thought. It probably won't, though.
Okay.
Either way, I think this is a very, very big blow to our lovely president, and it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this in terms of what Congress decides to do.
Mr. Humble.
Yes, Brett. Mr. Humble.
Yep. Well, that was a very juicy story. I can't wait to hear what comes from it next week. Or in the future, you know.
You're just saying this to act like you care about it.
Maybe we'll have an update for you next weekend.
No. Well, I'm more interested to see where this goes with all the Russia stuff. Personally, like this is just another notch in the chain. Another notch.
Notch in the chain.
Notch in the chain.
We need to get a soundboard.
We really do.
Yeah,
we need to
really
make
do.
these a bit more exciting. You're
like, welcome to the Shotcast. Notch in the chain. You know what I'm saying? Like a soundboard of us.
Or Brett going, I'm Jack.
Well, you know, most podcasts do have soundboards, you know.
Yes.
Like, that would make it
You realize you can't insert sound effects and stuff while you're editing, too, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess I could.
Yeah.
But we need to have our own recorded.
My point being, for now, you can listen back to the whole thing and then insert sound effects where you see fit.
Yeah, but they're not going to pertain to, like, our stories and, like, our personalities that we've done on this podcast. It's going to be like, zing, zang.
No, never mind. We're not talking about
he
this.
needs some milk. Like that.
He needs some milk?
You don't know that meme, do you?
No.
Okay.
I don't. All right. Wow, I'm not really feeling that good. Can you tell?
I can tell. Did you want to end it at the
No,
first
we're going to do the whole
what?
thing.
Is that why you're bringing that up? What are you doing?
Cheers.
Seafood. You okay to play WoW?
Yeah, I'll be fine to do that. I just
Don't like to talk.
no, I need to go get myself some cold medicine.
Get some NyQuil.
Yeah, that.
Then you really won't play World of Warcraft.
No, I wouldn't take that until we're done. Anyhow, this is a pointless conversation. You're going to edit that out of this.
No, it brings our personality out in the podcast, right, guys? Yeah, right.
All right, last news story here. That's a very sad one.
Oh,
Like,
another murder.
You know how last week the whole Chris Watts thing, which I still can't believe you told me people on Facebook didn't know that was happening.
Well, I'm seeing a bunch of people sharing it.
Oh, well, that's how Facebook works. After it's already made headlines, it takes about, 5 days for it to hit Facebook.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the murder of Mollie Tibbett. This is very sad, actually. I knew she's been missing since July, so it was actually very sad to hear that they found her dead. But for those of you who don't know, on Tuesday, the body of Mollie Tibbett was discovered in a cornfield in rural Iowa. Tibbett, who 20, had been missing since July 18th. I thought it was much earlier than that, but disappeared after going on a run. Police have since arrested, if I butchered this guy's name, I guess it doesn't really matter. Police have since arrested Christian Bahina Rivera on charges of first-degree murder. Rivera is an undocumented immigrant and told police on Monday that he saw and pursued her getting out of his car and running beside her while she was on her jog. Mm-hmm. She then warned him that she would call the police, and he proceeded to kill her.
Jesus Christ.
He also told police that he, quote-unquote, got mad when she threatened to call the police and blacked out shortly after that. Mm-hmm. Like, he blacked out, so he doesn't remember anything, right?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Uh-huh. And when approached regarding his immigrant status, his current employers, he worked on a handful of farms, said that he had passed an immigration background check, which is probably BS. Mm-hmm. They're just saying that so they don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, President Trump addressed the case in a video posted on Twitter, attacking U.S. immigration laws, calling them strictly pathetic. Which, again, this plays right into the thing he's built up where it's like all illegal immigrants who come here are murderers and rapists and drug lords. So he was going to eat this one up like no other. And he did. Rivera...
That's what they were saying on Facebook. Like, he ate this one up, but didn't say anything about Chris Watts.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because this goes with his agenda. His stupid, lying, foolhardy agenda. Rivera said that he, quote-unquote, blocked the memory of what happened after she threatened to call police, which is what he does when he gets very upset, according to police documents.
Jesus.
Brett, anytime you do something bad, just, you erase it from your memory. You black out, right?
Oh, yeah, right, I do. I black out. Whenever I get really drunk, I black out.
I'm talking about not drunk,
I
Brett.
know, Nick. I'm joking.
Shut up, Brett. I'm not feeling good. He said he noticed a headphone earpiece in his lap, which is how he realized he put her in the trunk.
Oh, there's headphones in my lap. That means I killed somebody. Every time I see my headphones in my lap, I'm like, oh, where's that chick I put in my trunk? Come on.
It's so stupid. On Wednesday, a judge at Poshia County Court, I butchered the name of that county, ordered the suspect held behind bars on a $5 million bail bond. So he ain't getting out of jail.
Yeah.
And during the hearing, the suspect wore headphones to hear a Spanish language translator and answered, "Sí," when asked if he understood the charges. So, yeah, this poor...
What he really meant was, can I see the charges?
Do not make a joke out of this. Extremely too soon.
Do you understand the charges? May I see?
Brett's being an a-hole.
I'm about to edit this out.
But truly, this is a very sad story. Can you just imagine you're, going on a run and then some creepy guy comes up and probably wants to rape you. I'm guessing that's what he wanted to do, and she ran away, and then he killed her.
What an idiot.
You
have a mental problem.
He went and then laid her body in a cornfield and covered it with corn.
Okay. Good plan there, bud.
I don't think he was thinking or he had a plan, Brett. That's part
he
of
has
the
to have
problem.
a mental problem.
It's just very sad because now...
I think anybody that murders anybody has a mental problem.
Probably.
I think you have a mental problem. You're something wrong in the
well,
brain.
It's just sad because last week we talked about the high-profile Chris Watts case, and then we talk about this other murder that made national attention. It's just sad, especially this one because she wanted to be like a something in science.
Yeah, she was gonna cure cancer.
Well, she wanted to write a book and do something. I remember reading when I read the articles that I got the information from. So it's very sad. She didn't deserve to die, and hopefully this guy goes to jail. Or actually, Iowa is not a death penalty state, so he'll just go to jail for the rest of his life.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's better.
Yeah. Only I did find out though, Colorado is the whole Chris Watts thing. Colorado is a death penalty state, but there's just a moratorium on the death penalty from the governor right now.
Well, I think putting somebody in jail the rest of their life is way more torture than actually just killing them.
How so?
Because he's gonna get the crap beat out of him in jail, and he's gonna have to live in a confined space the rest of his life. You just put him straight out of his misery when you kill him.
Ah, Brett's got a point there.
Yep.
Suffer.
Suffer. This is what you get. You suffer. Then he gets our tax dollars, so whatever.
Always looking on the bright side, Brett. Anyhow, that wraps up this week's news story. So we're gonna do one more wheel and take a quick break and be back for the topic of the week.
Here comes the wheel for the Shotcast. Shots to the Shotcast.
Oh.
Man, you sound like crap.
Yeah, we'll be right back. And we're back to finish off this week's Shotcast with our topic of the week.
And what is our topic of the week?
It's a really, really uplifting topic here. And I figured we'd talk about this because of, the whole Chris Watts thing, murdering his family, and now this Mollie Tibbett thing. And this week's topic is going to be about capital punishment and the death penalty. Maybe this will invoke a good discussion between Brett and I, because I don't know what Brett's views are on it. I think I can get a guess, but I guess we'll see. Why are you snapping?
Ooh, capital punishment. You don't know that meme, do you?
No.
Damn it.
I don't. We're going to spin
I
this
can't make
wheel.
any more jokes with you.
No, you can't. What? You win some, you lose some. This is probably going to be a bad podcast, Brett. I'm not what?
If you think that, you're going to manifest a bad podcast. You got to manifest positivity.
But I feel like
This
Poopy.
is going to be a great podcast, and you're doing a great job, even though you feel sick. Ooh. Read the podcast.
Okay. Well, before we get into our discussion on capital punishment, I'm going to lay down some history. Some nice, smooth
Jazz.
No.
History.
History. Are you ready for some
Of the Crips.
history of the Crips?
I don't know. I was just
The gang?
call, please.
Okay.
I'm like antsy.
Why?
I don't know. I'm just antsy.
Well, I think I know why.
I know why.
All right. So, breaking down the history of the death penalty and capital punishment in human society. So, the first established use of the death penalty can be dated as far back as 18th century BC in the Code of King Hammurabi of Babylon. Are you familiar with him? Mm-hmm. He did the eye for an eye code, which honestly, if you think about it, was the best form. If there was to be capital punishment, and I was for it in a different alternative universe, I think an eye for an eye is the best way. Whatever you do to someone else that warrants you getting in trouble gets happened to you.
18th century BC.
Yes.
So, how does that work?
What do you mean?
Because 17th century is the 1600s, so it would
BC, Brett.
No. You didn't let me finish.
Oh.
Because 18th century, and today would be 1700s. Is 18th century BC 1900s BC?
I don't know.
Does it go backwards still, or in time?
If I knew the actual number dates of BC, I could tell you when Hammurabi was, because it was in an old Mesopotamia, which is very old. That predates like Roman and Greek and everything.
Is this Tower of Babylon from the Bible?
Sure, I'm not
Let's go with
familiar
that.
Okay,
You don't know the story of the Tower of Babylon?
Brett, I never read the Bible.
The Tower of Babylon was about...
Yes, Babel and the whole thing in the different languages. I heard that story.
No, the blah 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 blah. You're not listening to me. Okay, Nick. Tower of Babylon is a great story that we'll talk about next time because you want me to shut the hell up. Continue.
Oh no, tell your story.
It was a tower that they wanted to destroy, so they walked around the tower trumpeting their horns, and eventually the tower fell because God was like, your horns are pretty loud, and that's enough vibration to make it go boom. That's a really short summary of the story, but basically that's what that Tower of Babylon is.
Thank you, Brett, for that great interruption. Anyhow, getting back to what we were talking about, King Hammurabi is known as one of the first old world leaders to have codified a death penalty for at least 25 different crimes, and he went by the eye for an eye philosophy, which I think even today would make sense. Like, you rape someone, you get raped.
No, I don't know. Okay, no, we're not going there.
Why? You kill someone,
no,
you get killed.
You're walking on thin ice there, boy.
Why? Why is that thin
You rape
ice?
someone, you get raped.
No, that's an
Is there just going to be a robot that we hire to rape people? Who's going to rape this person? I think people already get raped in jail.
Like, what he would do is if you stole, you'd get your hands cut off.
Wait, when you say somebody raped somebody so they're going to get raped back, who's going to be the person hired to rape them?
Probably a prisoner already in jail.
But it already happens, I think. So
I'm just saying.
You've never heard about...
He did things like people who stole got their hands cut off, or like... You, did adultery. You got your eye taken out.
Haven't you ever heard Chris Rock's skit on Toss Salad Man?
No.
He's like, I was watching an HBO special, and they were talking about Toss Salad Man. And apparently, when men go to jail and they want cigarettes and whatnot from people, he's like, "Sir, why don't you just make him suck your dick?" Or why don't you just make him give you fellatio? This is what they said on the TV show, not to suck dick, but you know what I'm getting at. And he's like, when a man's sucking your dick, he can pretend that's something else. But when a man's licking ass, he knows it's ass. And he's like, there's some things you can put on your ass to make them lick it off. You can put jelly, jam, or syrup. Personally, I prefer syrup. And he's like, we don't need stricter rules in high school. We need Toss Salad Man in high school. Billy, did you get your homework done? No. Okay, Toss Salad Man. No, please. I don't want to eat any ants, please. I'm going to learn to read.
I don't know what just happened there. Apparently, we learned about Toss Salad Man and licking syrup off people's butts. Getting back to the death penalty.
See, you educate, I dumb people down. It's a balance.
Who was Toss Salad Man? The guy in the prison?
Yeah.
Why was his name Toss Salad Man?
He makes people toss his salad. New inmates. You know what toss salad means, right? Let's pause. Have you seen Shawshank Redemption?
Getting back to... No, but that may actually come into play here talking about the death penalty. So that's Hammurabi. The death penalty was also part of the 14th century BC's Hittite Code and the 7th century BC's Draconian Code of Athens, which made death the only punishment for all crimes. Wow, look at that. And in the 5th century BC's Roman Law of the 12 Tablets. I wish we still had, law was still called that.
What?
U.S. Law of the 12 Tablets. Something cool.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
Something cooler than what we have now.
You have refrained from the U.S. Law of the 12 Tablets.
Right? Court hearings would be so much more interesting. Back then, in BC times, death sentences were typically carried out by means such as crucifixion, drowning, beating to death, burning alive, and impalement. All great ways to go, if you ask me.
You have the right to remain silent. Everything you say or do will be heard in the court of the 12 tablets. I thought you'd laugh at that. Damn
it was really funny.
Okay. It's just because you're sick you didn't laugh at it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
In the court of the
12 tablets.
And Brett completely glossed over all the means of death we had back then. In the 10th century AD, now we're, after Christ, hanging became the common method of execution in Britain.
Well, yeah, they hung pirates.
Yep, and under the reign of King Henry VIII, as many as 72,000 people are estimated to have been killed or executed. Some
In the 10th century, so that'd be 900s.
correct.
So there wasn't pirates yet. I was wrong. Don't listen to me.
Under the reign of some common methods at the time were boiling, burning at the stake, hanging, beheading, drawing, and quartering. Could you imagine being boiled?
I was just
to
about to
death?
ask you that. Can you imagine being boiled?
You're probably stuck in a hot pot and just.
That's a way to go, man.
That's awful. Well,
That's a way to go.
I would either say that or burning at the stake. I hear is pretty bad too.
I heard, didn't they hang people upside down above the pot, then slowly drip them in?
I don't know what
To the
they
pot.
did, but I would say it's a hard toss. What would be worse, boiling or burning alive?
No. Burning alive is way better than being boiled. Because when you burn alive, you don't die from the flames. You die from being suffocated. Because the flames take away your oxygen. So you suffocate before you're burned alive. When you're
I
boiling,
think you still feel
when
it.
you're boiling, well, yeah, you feel it, but eventually you'll like pass up from lack of oxygen after a minute. When you're boiling, you're boiling for like 5 minutes, man. No way of like ending it. No way of like getting out. No way of just being suffocated and dying.
Could you
You're
imagine?
just being boiled. Ugh.
Your insides are cooking.
Everything's cooking, Nick. Your eyeballs.
We're done. This has really like gotten to you.
And then like if you get it in your mouth and you swallow some of it and it's boiling the inside of your stomach. Cause so just imagine like when I cooked bacon last night and some of the grease and it popped out of the pan and it hit my skin and it was like you know? Like can you imagine if your whole body was dipped into that? Girl. That's not fried chicken you want to be smelling. That's you that you're smelling. And it ain't gonna be good. Don't be nasty.
You're done now. All right. Executions were carried out for such crimes like marrying a Jew, not confessing to a crime, and treason. Yeah, they still didn't like Jews back then. The Jews
I guess that shouldn't have surprised me, should it?
No, it shouldn't at all. Britain influenced the use of the death penalty in America, go figure. When settlers came to the New World, they brought with them the practice of capital punishment. Great way to come to the New World, right?
Capital punishment.
The first recorded use of the death penalty in the new colonies was that of Captain George Kendall in Jamestown Colony of Virginia in 1608. After being accused of being a spy for Spain, they killed him.
How'd they kill him?
I don't
Did
know.
it say or just said he
Nope,
died?
just said that he got killed. So in America, we can thank Britain for capital
Yeah,
punishment
thanks, Britain.
because the colonists who settled, they brought it with them.
Well,
But clearly, they learned from the best. King Henry VIII.
Excuse me. Didn't Indians do that stuff too? I'm sorry, Native Americans.
I don't
Jesus
think
Christ.
they killed people like that of their own tribe. I don't think they did the death penalty. No.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's kind of
you
the
sure?
maybe. I don't think they did, as far as I know. That's a brief history of the death penalty, and you know, to this day, it's very controversial. There are people who are like, sure, people should be killed for committing heinous crimes like murder, and I think really they only put people on death row for like murder.
Yeah.
They don't put people on death row for like
Life for a life.
yeah, like I've never heard of someone being like put on death row for like tax evasion or like rape, surprisingly, or like maybe rape and murder, but not like, you know, it's usually just for murder is when they put someone on death row. Considering that is the heinous of all most crimes.
Yeah, it's the worst crime.
Tears apart the soul. 7 pieces keeps you alive forever.
Ah, yes.
Anyhow, some facts here about the death penalty. So most of the world, it is highly frowned upon. And some of these facts may surprise you, Brett. Over 2/3 of countries in the world have abolished the death penalty in law or practice. And in 2010, the overwhelming majority of all known executions took place in 5 countries: China, Iran, North Korea, Yemen, and the U.S.
Wow.
The U.S., you know, out of all these countries, like, you know, one's run by a crazy dictator. The other's always had a history of really harsh law according to religious texts. The other one is run by pirates. And the other one just has a extremely hardcore communist government. Then you have the U.S.
No, you could have made it funny there.
What?
You said one's run by a crazy dictator. One's had a countless history of wars. Another one's run by a crazy dictator. One's run by pirates. And then you have China.
Oh, that was a good funny, Brett. Okay, I get that now. You're right. Anyhow, yes, the U.S. is on that list. And since 1977, the overwhelming majority of death row defendants, 77%, have been executed for killing white victims, even though African Americans make up about half of all homicide victims. That's a really interesting statistic, and again shows the racial biasness when it comes to the death penalty. Since 1973, more than 1,200 people have been executed in the U.S.
Wow.
So that's quite a few in terms of capital punishment. The FBI data shows that the 14 states without capital punishment in 2008 had a homicide rate at or below the national rate.
Okay.
Because the thinking about keeping the death penalty in place for a lot of these states is it's going to deter crime. Well, not really.
It doesn't.
In fact, the states that don't have it had a lower homicide rate than states that did have it, oddly enough. And everyone says, oh, well, it's very expensive to be on death row. And it is. It costs a lot of taxpayer money to keep someone on death row just because of the whole appeals process and everything.
Yeah.
But the greatest costs of death penalty occur prior to and during trial, not in post-conviction proceedings. So it's literally everything that leads up to the initial trial that costs the most money when convicting someone for the death penalty. And even if all post-conviction appeals were abolished, the death penalty would still cost more than alternative sentences. So it's a very expensive way to kill somebody. Mm-hmm. Just taxpayer dollars anywhere.
I believe you.
And this is the listing of the current U.S. states that do not have the death penalty. Quite a few, actually, and some that you wouldn't think. So current states without the death penalty are New Mexico, North Dakota, I'll rephrase that. Current states that have abolished the death penalty. New Mexico, North Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, West Virginia, Massachusetts, New York, Delaware, New Jersey, Alaska, Connecticut, Hawaii, Maine, Maryland, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Surprisingly, with how progressive California is, they have the death penalty and they kill the most people.
Really?
Yeah. Interesting, ain't it?
Wow. Where's Colorado?
I said Colorado also technically has it.
Where's Washington?
They all have it.
So the progressive states have the least progressive when it comes to killing people?
Right.
Oh.
Yes. And if you can't already guess, most of the South has the death penalty.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. But
not really.
It's interesting. What do you mean, not really?
Because usually Southern people are always like, only God can take a life. People can't take lives, only God.
Well, you got to take into account the whole slavery thing that happened, and their excuse to kill people for no reason. And
so, are there more states that have the death penalty than without it?
Correct.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I thought it was abolished in most states.
And it's funny that the pocket of the states that don't have it are either in the Northeast or the Upper Midwest. It's like Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan.
I wonder why.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
They have Alaska.
And then you think the West Coast, which is supposed to be the most progressive part of the country, doesn't.
Nowhere.
Or has it and uses it the most, So that's kind of a bit of background info on the death penalty we're dealing with. What are your thoughts on the death penalty, Brett? Yay, nay, when should it be used? And actually put thought into this and give it a thoughtful response so we can talk
wow,
about it.
I was. I think the only reason to use the death penalty is when you kill someone. That's my only reason I think that you should have the death penalty is when you kill somebody. Other than that, I think you should
other
spend the rest of
people
your lives
a lot of other people would say, why take another life just because this person took a life?
Because
two wrongs don't make a right.
Because the balance is off. You need to balance.
The balance is off?
Yeah. Evil's outweighing the good. You need to kill him because he's evil. If somebody took a life,
right?
You need to take a life back to balance it out.
But what's the difference between killing that person or just imprisoning them the rest of their life?
Because they got to live their life, and the person they killed never got to live out their life.
But you're just the one that said keeping them in prison.
Yeah, no, I just said that though.
Is worse than actually putting them on death row and killing them.
I know. I just said that because I wanted to say that. But truthfully, I believe that you should probably, only if you kill somebody. If a person kills somebody,
So you don't
there's
think
no excuse.
You don't think capital punishment should be used in any other case unless it's just murder?
That's me saying to kill them if the legal system found out 120% sure that he actually killed the person. If like a person was murdered and it was an accident or something like that, then I don't think a person should be killed if it was an accident.
So only if the person killed someone with the intent to murder.
With the intent of murdering, like they stabbed them, they shot them.
So you're saying like
with the intent.
Well, what would classify an accidental homicide?
Like if you hit somebody with your car.
Well,
Or like if you got into a feud with your wife and like slipped on some water in the kitchen and she fell on the kitchen knife that was on your hand.
Oh yeah, that's totally accidental. Yeah.
I'm just saying. What if that happened? I wouldn't want him to have the death penalty, but he should go to jail because somebody has to go to jail, you know.
That was a really random way. Your wife accidentally slips and falls on the knife holding in her hand.
Yeah.
That like doesn't happen.
I'm just saying.
All right. Well, I personally have always been against capital punishment because personally I think, one, it's a waste of time and resources because, again, the person spends so much time before they actually get killed and it costs so much taxpayer money to actually do it. It's just ridiculous at that point. It's cheaper to just house the person in prison the rest of their days. Not to mention, if the person committed a bad enough crime, they're probably going to get killed by someone in prison anyhow. And have, like that's what happened to Dahmer.
Yeah.
Like you know about that?
Yeah, you told me.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jeffrey Dahmer, all of you know, famous serial killer who ate people. He was housed in a maximum security prison here in Wisconsin, and just a couple months after he was in there, he got killed by an inmate.
Yep.
I guess Wisconsin's a death penalty state, so he wasn't on death row, but he got killed anyhow. Mm-hmm. And I think if you commit a bad enough crime, you're probably just gonna get killed anyhow. So honestly, a more efficient way to do this would be to just put the person in general population and wait for another prisoner to kill him. Mm-hmm. That'd be way more effective than having to go through this whole long, drawn-out process of the death penalty. Yeah. And the court process and all this stuff. And it draws in a lot more questions, too, when it comes to medical personnel. Because keep in mind, you're technically, if you're like, a medical professional and you have to carry out the execution, you're killing somebody.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot of moral and ethical things that come in line with that. And the thing is, you
pick the job.
No, a lot of the times the state just assigns people to do this mandatory.
Oh.
Yeah. So, like, the thing is, there's been many cases of a non-medical professional administering, we do lethal injection these days, administering lethal injection, and it not working properly, which then draws into, like, how much is that person who's now in death penalty suffering?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
there's a lot of questions that come up with this. And as a matter of fact, I want to read to you. I think it is wise to go over how we currently kill people.
Well, you put a numbing agent into them, and then you get the stuff that burns their inside into liquid shit.
No, that's not what happens actually. So it's actually
just saying.
And it's not like how we euthanize animals either. It's actually quite different, and there's actually a lot that can go wrong with our current way of killing people with lethal injection. Did you actually hear about the guy who, so he was on death row, they put the serum in him, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And he was alive, and he got let go because he technically had carried out his sentence. It just
really?
didn't kill him. Yeah.
That's stupid.
In the eyes of the law, he had carried out his sentence. He just survived the lethal injection.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Really. They let him go out of jail? What?
Well, maybe he was in jail, but he wasn't on death row anymore.
Okay, I was going to say.
That makes sense. So this is the current way that the death penalty is carried out in the U.S. Via lethal injection. So the prisoner is bound to a gurney. 2 needles are inserted into the prisoner's veins, and a saline solution is injected. Pentobarbital, an anesthetic, is injected to put the prisoner to sleep, so it makes him unconscious. Pavilon, or pancrononium bromide, is released, inducing paralysis and stopping breathing. And then finally, the flow of potassium chloride stops the heart, and this chemical can cause excruciating pain if the prisoner is still conscious.
Yeah.
Which there have been many occasions where the initial anesthetic was not as powerful as they thought, or it was misjudged, and the person died, probably experiencing excruciating pain.
Well, Jesus Christ, why are they skimming the anesthetic?
Well,
They're afraid they're gonna kill him.
Because sometimes, again, sometimes you don't have medical professionals administering this.
No, did you hear what I just said?
What?
Are they afraid they're gonna kill him if they give him too much?
Brett, I don't know.
He's about to die. Did you notice they also swabbed the arm of the person with alcohol?
Yes.
So it doesn't give it an infection.
Well, that's standard medical procedure.
Hopefully he doesn't get an infection and die.
Well, anyhow, this is the current way of killing people, and here are the potential problems with this. The prisoner resists and delays establishment of an intravenous line. The execution team is not able to find a suitable vein, which could happen. The mixture or composition of drugs is wrong. Often happens. The direction of flow of the injection is wrong. The chemicals are directed into tissue rather than a vein, and the prisoner does not react normally to the drugs. All these things are problems with lethal injection. And the concerns, again, like I brought up, are the involvement of health personnel in executions, because literally all codes of professional ethics, which consider the death penalty in the medical world, oppose health professional participation. But a lot of health professionals are required by law in many death penalty states to assist execution. So, again, it draws in that ethical question. And a lot of different injections have been botched, which has caused great physical suffering for people. And a lot of people have probably died at the hands of this in excruciating pain. So, honestly, if you look at how we used to kill people, and honestly, I think it was up until like the 60s or 70s, the electric chair was very common.
Yeah, that's scary.
Maybe, what?
Electric chair.
Why is that scary?
Because you're literally just being fried to death.
Have you actually looked into how that's done? I was on this huge kick of I was on this huge kick of capital punishment and how they used to kill people. Mm-hmm. So I actually learned a lot about this. So do you actually want to know how the process of the electric chair worked?
What do you mean? Like, you're gonna tell me the process of like what it does to your body, or what?
Well, like how they set it up and then what it actually does.
They strap him in with the
straps,
right? Oh, okay. I'm not even gonna go.
So what happens is they put the person in the chair, they strap him down.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, they have the helmet that you see put on, or they had external wires that would be attached to the skin in some capacity. But more often than not, it was the helmet that would then be strapped to your head.
Yep.
They would then put cotton balls with like tape or like surgical padding over the eyes because
your eyes fly out of your head.
Because yes, otherwise your eyes would pop out of your head. And then what they do is they turn it on, and supposedly immediately when the flow of electricity begins, it knocks you unconscious. Now, that may or may not be the case, because there's been multiple cases of the initial shock, but then they would check someone's heart and they're still beating, so they'd have to do it again.
Yeah.
So, like, that's how they determined if someone was dead, was if their heart was no longer beating. So, essentially, electricity was supposed to stop the heart, make you unconscious, and fry your body. And part of how they knew someone was dead, too, is blood would start coming out of the eyes, because that means they would have exited the skull.
Yeah.
So, that's how the electric chair worked.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Very gruesome way of
your
killing.
teeth would also break.
Yes, because you're... Oh, they would also usually put something in the person's mouth, like a wooden thing. Yeah. Could you imagine getting shocked to death, Brett?
Because it's convulsing all of your muscles.
So we used to, and that I believe the electric chair is not the normal way we kill people. Upon request, though, you can be executed using an electric chair.
Yeah, I knew that.
Or firing squad.
I don't have a firing squad.
You'd rather be shot?
Than rather be put to sleep, not in the correct way, and then be like burned from the inside out.
Or boiled.
Rather just go and just die.
Or boiled.
I don't want to be broiled. Can you imagine that?
We're not getting on
They
that
eat
again.
you afterwards.
Brett, stop it.
Oh my God. Bill, the eggs are done too. And we finally killed this guy. They take you out of the pan and all their boiled eggs. Dinner's ready.
right.
Oh
Well-
my God.
We're at an hour here.
It makes me uneasy thinking about death.
We're at an hour here, so I think we did a pretty good job kind of laying out the death penalty. I wish it would have felt better, so I got more into that, of course.
By the way, let's not make next week about death.
Oh, that's right. The past two have been about
Death.
shows the state of mind I've been in. I'm kidding. Anyhow, we hope you enjoyed.
Next week, let's learn about psychotic episodes and depression.
Anyhow, Brett and I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode of the Shotcast. Please make sure to listen, subscribe, and like our Instagram channel. We will be posting this to Instagram with a link directly to this week's episode. We'll be back next week with another riveting series of news stories and topic of the week and anything else fun, Brett.
Nope, I am excited to do next week's podcast, and I'll read all the news that you provide.
You better, or I'm going to really show you what Toss Salad Man does to a person.
Oh, God. And I will edit this and set it up on all social medias.
Wonderful. Well, have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.